Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to DreamHack Open 2015 Valencia. We can see the sun has set, and so has the tournament lives on many of these players here as we wind down the round of 16. We have Serral coming up against Curious as our next match. We just saw Fantasy take a dominating performance over Rhett. Are we surprised so far by the results we've had today, boys?
Yeah, I mean, especially, well, not in the round of 16 at least. Yeah. Red actually played some great StarCraft, especially in that game one. I was very impressed with that. But it was unfortunate that game two just got a little caught off guard a few times and fell really far behind very quickly.
Yeah. But, and as to if we were surprised, I mean, that's kind of what we were expecting anyway. Even though Red did put in a bunch of great games, you really have to give him credit. I was kind of predicting a 2-0 there for Fantasy. Not really a big surprise for me.
He didn't seem all that confident in his interview. You know, he said he referenced a lot of players. He thought, well, he seemed to allude that other players were better than him, and he had to pull out the tricks to beat those guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's feeling confident, then I guess there's no reason to do anything crazy against Rhett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I suppose. Absolutely. It was funny in that interview with Fantasy how he seemed a bit not too confident against Gumiho. Actually, you know, he's like, I want to go against Patience. I know this guy is on my team. It'll be easy, is what he said.
Yeah, TVT is pretty crazy. So.
I don't think teammates are meant to do that either. They're not meant to really look for their other teammates.
He's like, I want to snipe Patience.
You know what? There's two sides to this, because maybe Fantasy in his mind is like, well, that means we're guaranteed a Dead Pixels player in the next round. You know, you could always look at it in that weird sort of.
I guess, but I don't know. Usually we don't see that. Over in Korea, like when teammates are playing, like have to match up each other, they're pretty sad usually. If it's some GSL or Star League, like, oh, it's my teammate.
I guess he'd rather lose to his teammate than someone that's not on his team, right? At least have an overall team presence.
Even that, I think that is a bad thing, because you're like, man, I'm not the top dog in my team. That also makes you feel bad. I think especially for someone like Fantasy, who probably is, the best in Dead Pixels.
I think that's a pretty reasonable assertion.
Him and True up there at the top, but
I'm sure he'd be pretty salty if he lost to Patience.
Yeah.
I do feel we're getting a little bit fixated on this side of the bracket, though. I mean, we did say this one was more stacked side with guys like Curious, Gumiho, and Fantasy. But again, like quietly on the other side of the bracket, there's Teja just like lurking, getting win after win.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm more afraid of True over that side, to be honest.
Yeah.
True is actually sick good. We just haven't spoken about him. Because I wanted to be a surprise when he makes it to the grand finals, but I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we can take actually a look at the bracket now. We can discuss this a little bit more easily for you guys watching from home to see. Of course, the other side of that bracket, as you said, Tasia lurking, True as well, and we always had to now consider the possibility of the one base immortal push knocking True out of this tournament. Couldn't happen, Moonglade.
It could happen, but he's given it away a couple times already. I don't know if True will fall for it.
I think True's going to know exactly the style of Arium. I think he's shown it way too much at this tournament already.
I think it could
Arium also said that against players that he thought were better than him, he is going to go for that style, and I think he would think that True is better than him too.
The thing about True is, though, like even if he thinks he's better than a player, he doesn't mind like cheesing them. Like he goes for his insane, I'm going to proxy hatch, I'm going to speedling bust, I'm going to do everything.
So I think cheesing an NA player is just a terrible idea. That's where you're going to have that's where Arium seemed most comfortable. Like that game one that he played against Simple was like, oh yeah, he did this cheeser to me. He's like, thankfully my cheese counters his so well that
Well, I mean, I think True will probably change things up. I don't think True's going to be overly aggressive. I think you'll probably play like Symbol played in game 2 and just go for 3 base and deal with it like that. Maybe rush into Ling Hydra or something, because it pretty much is just pure immortal when he does it. So I mean, Hydras would be great against it.
But the thing about True is like he has played some more like macro style games recently when he's been playing in like Sport TV tournaments. But I don't think it's really worked out for him. Like he should stay true to his style, which is just to be insane and aggressive.
But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like especially against this NA player Arian, like I feel like True, even though he wasn't able to go head to toe to toe in macro games against like top Koreans, I think he still could do it against Arian, to be honest.
Also, just to change the subject a little bit, are we overlooking Lenok? Because Lenok is a DreamHack champion. He has won multiple championships in multiple tournaments.
No, we're not overlooking him.
I think that was like the first time we mentioned him, but no, we're not overlooking him. He's been in the back of our minds the entire time.
Is he totally over the hill in your opinion, or what's happening?
I wouldn't say he's completely over the hill.
You gotta look at him like Tasia almost, right?
Yeah.
Like a Tasia, or like we would have looked at like San, for example, as we know that these guys have been good, but they haven't, like, none of those guys have been on hot streaks lately, right?
Not in quite a while, actually. Yeah.
I think for me, like, more than Leonok, it's still Hyun. Like, he still has that matchup against Harstom. He's still in this.
Yeah.
You know?
Hyun has definitely got potential to make it pretty far, especially if he plays like he did in Star League or Kesper Cup, Star League. Either one, he played great. I'm sure he's playing great recently.
Star League Challenger, 3-0 over Dark.
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
Fantastic play.
I mean, there are a lot of these veterans who aren't doing as well now. Teja, Hyun, these guys who know how to play a long series, who have experience in these situations. If they can make it to the later rounds, they might string together a couple of wins. But I don't know. I think you're a little bit too down on Leonok, though. Like, what makes Leonok like a lesser player than Hyun lately? Like, just because he was on a game casted?
He's still a fantastic player, and I feel like also in this tournament, against like some of the weaker players, he still could have a chance of doing this. But I still would, think that Hyun is like here while Leonok's here, for me.
Yeah, we just haven't seen Leonok at all, and it's always usually there's a reason behind that, especially if it comes to like Pro League or something like that. He's just not there anymore. So I'm like, well, something's obviously gone wrong, whether he's taking a break or he's just playing very badly. Like Leonok at the start of this year, I'd be like, you know what, you're right. Like, we forgot about Leonok. But now, like, it's 6 months in, we still haven't seen anything from him since he was doing well in Pro League.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing as we go through the round of 16 will be seeing which of these players are actually able to progress out of, we're all basically putting, Leonok and Teja and Hyun as like dark horses at this point, which would be ridiculous to say last year. But we do actually have the next game ready. It's going to be Serral versus Curious, our first ZvZ of the day. I'll kick it on over to you boys for our next match.
Welcome back, guys. We're about to jump into our first ZvZ of the night. I know that makes Moonglade very excited.
Maybe the only one here, Valdez, but damn it, we're going to enjoy it. Curious versus Serral.
Yeah. Well, talking about this matchup a little bit, Serral able to defeat Bunny to get through. Bunny saying, he wanted a Zerg to play. He wanted to play that mech game and just sit back and go against a Zerg, but he gets killed or, taken out here by Serral. So Serral moves on, kind of this guy who's doing really well. All these Mind Sanity guys doing quite well today.
Yeah, they have been doing fantastically. And Serral, he does go pretty deep in some of these DreamHacks. He's no stranger to this kind of situation.
Yeah.
Going up against one of these Korean players and Curious. We finally get to see Curious play today as well. And I'm excited for this ZvZ.
So am I, Moonglade. But up here in the top, in the red, one of our Zergs here, it is Serral.
And to the mid-right, in blue, the Zerg, Curious. I dare say one of our strongest Zerg players here at the tournament. That is, if he's in his form that we expect him to be in.
Yeah, before the game started, we got to talk a little bit about Serral, but Curious, his recent run through the Code S of GSL, taking out 3 very strong Zergs. I think Bjol and Rogue and someone else, another very strong Zerg.
Bjol, Rogue, Saxtory, man.
Yeah,
he's beast moding in GSL in this matchup, no doubt one of his favorite matchups. And he's going to start things off with a bang, going for that 8 pool.
What do you think about this, especially on this map? By the way, Dash and Terminal, a pretty long rush distance at that. You do have those rocks, but before they're down, you got to go all the way around, across the map, up the ramp, down the ramp, up the ramp, down the ramp, and then you go into the natural, and then you finally make it into the main.
Well, I still think it's short enough distance that it can do the damage it needs to, especially if it is going to be that hatch first. If it's going to be a 15 pool, there you go. Hatch first it is. So he's going to be looking for some real damage here.
Oh, yeah. Do you feel like a bit of this is also that Serral maybe won't be expecting it on this kind of map?
Yeah, possibly not. He probably is not expecting it to be the first game of the series as well. Like, whoa, you're just starting with an 8 pool. Yeah. I guess this is happening.
Get a little taste of that Korean ZvZ.
Yeah, bit of that welcome to the foreigners. The Koreans love to give them when they come over to Korea. And he's going to scout it with the Overlord, but, nothing really changes in the build at this point. You're going to throw down that pool around the same time, and you're going to be like, well, crap, I went for hatch first, so I could have to micro like a god so these lings don't kill my drones.
Yeah. He does get the pool immediately once he does spot that. He's going to try to take the gas as well. And no gas just yet for Curious. Just going to be gas. Just going to try to get out as many lings as possible.
Yeah. Going to try trade with the drones as much as he can, and maybe his kind of like his fallback is to go for that hatchery in the low ground, The one thing about this map to note is that there is a little nook where the drones can stack on the minerals, so they can defend pretty easily against Lings. So it's going to be a little bit harder for the Lings to find the damage they desire.
Yeah.
And look at this beautiful drone stacking on top of the Lings, getting a couple of Lings only for a couple of drones.
Yeah, you know, he got a really nice surround, but not really pulling back the weakened drones in times. He does lose 2 of them, whereas Curious not sustaining that much damage.
He's going to get another one as well, so the damage is kind of adding up at this point. He's going to trade out completely with the drones.
Oh, man. This is getting so much damage done. Still 4 Lings are alive.
Yeah, that's actually too much. Too much damage. He probably should have drone stacked past the Lings so they get a good surround. But now the Lings are going to go for this hatchery. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to kill it at this point, though, because more Lings are going to be coming out for Serral.
Yeah, behind this Curious just going for drones. Just going to try to commit to getting this hatchery down here. The queen has been birthed coming out of that main hatchery.
It has indeed, Valez. That is the correct terminology coming out of the hatchery. So
it's true.
Completely agree with you there. Popped on out, and it's going to be enough to defend. There's a pretty decent-sized drone lead for Curious at this point, too. 17 to 11.
Yeah.
Ling speed on the way as well.
It's pretty nice. You know, the one thing that Serral does have that Curious doesn't, of course, is that hatchery. So he will have a bit better production, but not the best economy to support it. Yeah, we do see the speed as the follow-up here for Curious.
That's it. And the speed not too far behind for Serral either. Curious is going to keep trying to apply pressure to stop, much droning happening as well. Looks like there's a little bit of a counter attack from Serral, maybe to pull these Lings back off the map. Curious cannot afford this hatchery to be cancelled.
Yeah. This is a great position, actually, for Serral. He needs to put on some kind of counter-harass.
Getting surrounded could be a bad thing. A lot more Lings coming from behind there.
Yeah, Serral actually taking a pretty good trade there. Curious has to just make as many Lings as possible to defend this, and it looks like he will. You know, no real follow-up here from Serral, just making drones back at home.
Yeah, Serral's got healthier Lings right now, so Curious has to make a bunch more. Oh, man, he cannot afford to get this hatch canceled. I don't think he will, though. He's committed a lot harder with the Lings before that happens.
Yep, and there's also this scary timing where the Lings are out on the map here for Serral, and the speed is going to finish first here for Curious, so he definitely can ambush these Lings.
Oh, yeah, this is such a bad place to be. We are seeing more Lings be made for Serral as well, but yeah, his speed is still a while away from finishing. All these Lings are going to go down, and a counter-attack can happen from Curious that may be able to claim the hatchery.
Yeah, we do see Serral on just making as many Lings as possible. He will have speed by the time the Lings of Curious get to the opposite side of the map. And he will also have a spine crawler on the way.
Look at this. Both going for the Bane nest afterwards as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. We were talking about this map, the Naturals, for ZVP, where there's a lot of open space, a lot of different directions to come from. I think it's kind of like the merry-go-round rule, where it's just too much to defend. You kind of have to get Banelings out.
Yeah, certainly so. With that many angles, can you imagine what Banelings are capable of going around that back door into the drone line? Horrible things will happen.
We've seen it before.
Look at this, trying to break off a couple of Lings so they can sneak in some Baneling morphs. Both sides of the map. And both of them have the same idea. They want to apply the pressure, go for this, get these Banelings on the map and go for a big hit.
Looks like Curious just barely has the advantage here in the middle of the map. It's going to force Serral to run all the way back home and just make some more Lings to defend, as well as Banelings.
Yeah, currently more Lings for Curious, actually. No Banelings out for Serral either, and a great concave with them.
They're about to morph, though. Let's see if he can get some decent hits. No, Curious pulling back immediately.
On point.
Very nice trade.
Yeah, very nicely done there.
And all the while, he's got total map control. He's making as many drones as possible back at home. He's getting very far ahead. 32 to 24 workers now for Curious. And all he's got to do is defend. He's got his own Baneling nest. He's morphing 2 Banelings now.
Yep, 2 more already on the map as well. He's going to try and trigger the Banelings. Serral make his way across the map and maybe start pressing at that natural again. Curious maintaining that lead though. 33 workers to 26.
Banelings pushing forward here from Curious, looking for that hit. Serral having a tough time trying to micro there, but the Banelings running in. He's going to surround the queen. It's going to go down.
Bit premature on that Baneling hit, but it's going to let the Lings get into the main base, maybe going for another queen.
I think he should be able to do it too. Just enough Lings. It's going to be really close.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it if he commits to it. There we go.
There you go, just barely.
And that is huge. Production is slowed down incredibly for Serral at this point. Losing both queens, that is huge. This might even trigger a big counterattack. I mean, he's in such a bad place now, just from that move.
It's really huge. Curious, it looks like he's trying to trade in the middle of the map. Again, another premature Baneling hit there.
Well said, fellas. And one Baneling left over for this army, and we get chased back. Oh,
Ooh,
big
nice
one
hit
there.
Yeah.
Not too much though, not many Lings there. And Curious, he's just in such a comfortable position. Going into the lair tech, still got a lot of Ling Bane on the map, Spine at the natural as well. Everything is just slowed down so much for Serral, getting those queens out again. And he's gonna go into the Roach tech from here.
What will we have from Curious? I think he's taken both of the gases at his natural.
Yeah.
There will be the Spire coming down.
So it's gonna be that very quick 3 gas into a Spire with a later 4th. And another Ling run by, maybe looking for a queen kill again. There's a Baneling not far behind there.
Ooh, that was going to be pretty close. Looks like he wants to come in the main, maybe get a scout down. He sees the lair timing, sees the gas being mined. He should be pretty happy, at least with what he's seen. Every time that Curious and Serral trade in the map with Ling Bane, Curious almost always comes out ahead.
Yeah, he does. He seems like his micro is just a little bit more superior at this point. Queen nearly went down. And now it's like we might see another counterattack from Serral, but there's still a number of Lings on the map for Curious. Curious might want to try and deal with this third base. It's one of the name of the games when it comes to Spire versus Roach Warren. You want to try and get the mutas out in time before that third base is up and running. Try and deny it from getting up as long as possible while you take your own with that map control of air units. And Lings are a dangerous game right here. Baneling's come out.
One of those hits was decent. But Curious just going to back off. Serral forced to make more and more Banes.
Well, here we go again. Roaches are out this time there. It's going to be a lot harder to find the damage. Ling's going to try and do some damage to his hatchery. I don't think he's going to be able to kill it there.
Serral's not responding. He's not responding.
Oh, no.
Looks like he's just going to send the Banelings, but it's too late. He's going to have that hatchery canceled now.
That was a big blow there. I think he was worried there were more Lings on the map or something, that the Roaches might get threatened. Hard to say exactly.
I suppose so, but it's going to be hard, if you're going to be playing that safe at this point in the game. Especially against a player like Curious.
Look at that. Curious actually getting drone kills with Lings, despite being Roaches there. And Spire's finished. Mutas are on the way. Some of them have hatched already. It's going to give complete map control to Curious. Curious is pretty much just going to have to look out for any sort of counterattack with the Roach Ling or a Nidus.
Yeah, and it looks like Serral, is going to move out on the map with a bunch of his Roaches, but looks like he may just want to use this big map to try to go around the mutas and maybe snipe that third base. He's already got Lings there.
It's a good start. And yeah, a lot of Roaches hovering around the middle of the map there. And if they can get down here unscathed, they can pretty easily take down this third hatchery. Oh no, looks like it might be the case actually.
Curious is looking for him, but he can't find the Roaches.
Oh, he's going down south now. He might run into them. No?
I think he's got an idea that this is happening.
He's certainly worried about it, as he should be, because it is like the natural sort of reaction to what Curious has in the map. He's like, okay, you're doing this. I have to counterattack you with Roaches and buy as much time as I can.
Yeah, but look at this. The mutas are going to make their way towards the natural now, but a lot of queens, a lot of spore crawlers set up there. Let's see the transfuses. Can he save these queens? A couple of them going down, in fact, 3 of them, but the mutas cannot fight straight up. And here come the Roaches.
Here they come. Oh, actually going for this natural as well. Actually getting a few drone kills. Would be smart to run past. Dealing with the queen first there. And this is what he's looking for. This is the name of the game for the Roach user. He has to try and counterattack as best as he can. He's found his way into the main base, dealing with both queens and getting a couple of drones.
At the same time, Roach is getting to work at that third base. Curious cannot mine from there right now.
It's actually very low. I think he might actually just get the hatchery. It is so close to dying, but he's not focusing it.
He's got to commit to it. He does get it. There just at the end, but he will be cleaned up. And he still doesn't have his own third base back at home. I think it's just morphed.
Just morphed now.
There we go.
Throwing down spores. They should be up in time as well. This is actually a great position for Serral now. Bit of a blunder from Curious, allowing those Roaches to sneak on by.
Well, at the same time, he did throw away a lot of Roaches to do that damage. We'll see if Curious can get any counterattack damage done. He's trying to focus down the spores with the Lings on the ground. Doing a decent job of it. He should get one. He does.
He gets one, but still too many queens for these mutas to handle by themselves. So great position for Serral. He's pretty much just has to go into Infestus, which he's doing, getting +2 as well. And Curious is playing catch up from here. He's going into his Roach upgrades now. He's making his third base again. He's just going to be behind.
Yeah. One thing that Curious does have ahead of Serral is he does have 15 extra workers. He's going to get that third base saturated up in time once he gets it. So at least a small thing there. Muta's coming back and the Spore's not down yet. but he's not going to commit.
No, he doesn't know for sure that infestors are out too, actually. And that could be a major blow. If every muta got fungled, like the game nearly just ends because a counterattack would just be too strong.
Yeah. But Curious going to play it a bit safe, not going to overcommit here, just skirting around the edge of Serral's base now. Not going to find much damage, though, at the same time. Serral has a very good defense so far in this game.
Yeah, Serral's looking great from here. He's completely stabilized after all the harassment and damage that came on in the early game. He's looking good. He's got the composition he needs. Maybe he'll go into Hydra just a little bit later. Now that he's got Infestors out, and we do see that Hydra Den on the way. So it looks like it will be the transition, and that's pretty much the way you want to do it. You never want to go straight into Hydras after Roaches against Mutas, because that will allow the Zerg, the Muta player, to go into simple Muta-Link Bane. And then you can just never fight that army, really.
These Infestors skirting around the vision of the Overseer, still undetected at this point.
Oh man, what a beautiful move. This could do so much damage.
Is he going to try to burrow into the third?
Oh, well, look at that. Another Overseer waiting by nearby.
Yeah, I don't think that would be wise.
Yeah,
but
I'm guessing he would be looking for, you know, a bunch of infested Terrans at some point. Not yet, I would think, because he's going to wait until, you know, something happens in the map, so he is a little bit distracted as well.
Nice little snipes here from the Mutas of Curious. The Transfuses are going to come down and save that second extractor there at the natural.
Ooh, cannot get fungled there. He's got to pay attention to this, and he does.
Just barely. He's trying to...
Yeah, looking for the magic box over the top of the Infestors would also do some work.
Bit of cheeky Muta play there.
Yeah, cheeky play indeed. Look at this, another pretty exposed extractor.
But at the same time, he will lose one of his Mutas.
Slowing down the gas in this kind of situation is pretty important. Obviously, it's going to affect how many Hydras you can get, how many upgrades, and Infestors. All very gas heavy. We are seeing a massive Roach army move across the map as well towards Serral's base.
Yeah, I don't think he would want to attack into a concave here in the defensive position of Serral, especially when he's got Roach, Hydra, Infestor against only Roaches and better upgrades before that +2 finishes for Curious.
Yeah, that could actually not be a worse engagement. And Muta's still trying to find damage where they can. While this Roach, Hydra, Infestor army moves onto the map, looks for that Roach Force. Ooh, throwing away a little too many at this point.
He's still just only doing damage to himself, Moonblade.
He's kind of losing the relevancy with these Mutas as well there. You know, they're becoming dead supply as the game goes on. So I can't blame him for trying to throw it out and throw them away and kind of get into that better army composition. So he does need to get Roach Hydra out.
Oh, huge fungal going to come down here, and he's going to be able to link that up and jump onto this huge chunk of Roaches of Curious.
That is so many Roaches going down. That is so much supply. Look at the supply difference now, Valdez. He's down 30. So that army didn't take a single bit of damage either. You know, that fungals were perfect.
Pretty unbelievable. You know, he was just trying to set up a different attack pattern, but the burrowed Infestor play out of Serral has been godlike so far.
Yeah, since he's got to this stage, he's been playing godly. But look at this. We do see Infestors of Curious as well. It's going to be a very hard choke point to fight into. If he gets fungled up here, only a few so far.
Yeah, and one Infestor goes down for free over there. I think he spotted these Infestors, and another one goes down.
This makes it a little bit trickier. This map is very hard to fight Roach versus Roach into because of these choke points.
Yeah, that's why we see these super late game ZvZs. But again, trying to go for the snipes here on the Infestors. Gets one. And is trying to go for some queens over here on the left side too, but nice transfuses. Is going to lose one.
Ooh, a couple of one hits there. Can't transfuse through that. And one Infestor remains at the back of this base. Curious is up a base right now, mind you.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to snipe this hatchery here. Does get the cancel.
Gonna throw away the rest of these Roaches, but they did their job. Curious has to get into these Hydras as well. Nothing complements Infestors more, fungals more than a nice batch of Hydras behind it to deal with these tied down Roaches. Infested Terrors didn't do too much, actually.
Yeah, not doing too much damage there.
Yeah.
But again, Serral looking for the aggressive position here. I wonder where you can attack into on this map. We were talking about this before.
Look at this, fellas. He's going to scout out with the Roach Seed. Nothing's in position, so he's going to get a nice little concave behind the mineral patch.
Oh, and look at that line of infested Terrans even going to block it off, and it's going to force Curious to totally back off. He does not want to take that fight.
Yeah, he's going to go for a counterattack with a bunch of his Roaches instead. You know, he can't afford to throw away a lot of roaches as well because of the fungals. Going to do so much. And look at that, the whole army, or a good chunk of it from Serral is getting tied up as well.
Yeah, you know, really good fungals, but no follow-up there from Curious. He's just delaying for this counterattack to do some damage, and no defense back here for Serral. This roach could do so much damage.
Yeah, he's going to take so much damage, whether it be drone damage or the hatchery getting focused down. So he's going to deal with the drones themselves for now. Really great counterattack.
Oh yeah, he's already done 30 drones worth of damage. Serral now down to 30 drones.
Now the hatchery goes down as well. Fourth base still up and running, but a lot of drones went down there as well. It looks like it's not over.
It's not over yet. More drones are transferring. It looks like he's just focusing down some Hydras and is going to try to go into the main now. Forcing Serral to bring his entire army back here, but still sustain so much damage.
Yeah, Serral was looking so good until this counterattack happened, and now he is in a horrible place. He's the one down in supply now. Despite having such a superior composition for the longest amount of time, Curious just bought himself so much time and did so much damage with these counterattacks that were, dare I say, like almost obvious to happen at some point. If you're going to put your army in the bottom left of the map, it gives him so much room to just run across the map with roaches and defend with infestors.
Just one small mistake can do it for you, especially in these mirror matchups, you know? It's kind of sad, but Serral going to have to play a bit from behind here. He's trying to get a Spire up.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got his Hive out here, which Curious does have.
Maybe he's so worried, perhaps, of Brood Lords from Curious at this point, which is certainly something that he should be worried about. And maybe his counter to that will be Corruptors if the time comes. I can only imagine that might be his choice because nothing else is really going to make sense for it. You know, Mutaswitch at this point, not going to find much traction.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Once again, the fungals go down in the awkward positions.
Oh, he catches a bunch of the infestors in the front.
Man.
Snipes one of them.
He's chaining up these Hydras. If he gets rid of a chunk of these Hydras, that's huge damage.
And he will do exactly that. About 7 of them going down. A decent counter fungal here. It's the battle of the fungals between these two Zerg players.
I love this matchup, fellas. Well, here we go again. There's a bit of a stalemate outside these. I think it's going to end up going to Broodlords at some point here, because that's really the only way you're going to be able to push on top of each other, push the armies back from these sort of positions.
Yeah. Curious once again going for a counterattack. This map is so big. In the middle of the map, there's so many different paths, but at the same time, really nice fungal is going to catch a lot of the infestors in the front of Serral, but not everything here for Curious.
That is so much damage. Roach is coming from behind, and now we've kind of regrouped again. That army is so soft from those fungals, and everything's just going to get wiped out here.
Looks like it. It should be enough here for Curious to push forward and totally wipe out the army of Serral. Serral in the full retreat now, only down to about 115 supply. And Curious, he's almost maxed out here, looking to push all the way across the map and end this game and get ahead in the series.
Yeah, I think maybe Serral was a little too desperate at this point. Maybe he realized Curious was tier 3. He was getting the 3-3. It was only a matter of time before he was simply too far behind. He went for that one big push, but it simply wasn't enough. There was infestors waiting for this move.
And now Curious here once again maxed out. He's gotten his infestor buddies in the back, trailing 3-3, about to finish up here. It doesn't look like there's much that Serral can do. This map is great for defending, but not when you're this far behind.
Yeah, maybe good fungals can still do the trick though, if he's in position for it, but it's never going to be a decent trade-off. And there's always that option of Broodlords if Curious decided to go into that. And there we go. Great Aspire on the way.
Wonder why that was so late, in fact. He was kind of like dilly-dallying in the middle of the map for a while, like toying with the idea of attacking, but he never actually did it. And looks like he may go for it now.
Yeah, looks like he's going to go for a multi-pronged attack here. Going towards that 4th base and towards the natural. And look at this, Serral going completely towards that 4th. He's going to be completely out of position for this. Look at that straight line, that huge concave. There's no way he can go back into his natural.
GG. Curious will take game number 1 here against Serral. In pretty exciting fashion there. Curious, a really nice counterattack there. Serral getting just a bit out of position. And Curious was able to get ahead enough in that game.
Serral actually was in such a great place for a lot of that game. He had the composition advantage, but it is so hard to fight into those choke points.
It really is.
Fungals are going to dominate it every single time, no matter if you have many more Hydras, and even if your army's that much bigger, like we even saw it when Curious went for the giant counterattack with like 20 roaches. He just tied up the army with fungals and just sat back.
Yeah, he had the spines from earlier when he was going for the mutaplay.
Yeah.
You know, looks like Serral getting a bit down on himself here. It's always a big struggle, especially in these best-of-3 series, to keep it together, especially against such a strong player of Curious.
Yeah, well, it's your tournament life, and in one best-of-3, it is a scary thing right now. And no doubt going to be a little frustrated with that game, perhaps on that map as well. He pretty much lost the game when he went for that big attack, and Fungals just ruined it.
Yeah.
That's all that happens.
It's funny to see Serral getting a huge amount of support. Of course, a lot of MYI players down here and staff helping him out, whereas Curious, I'm not even sure if anyone's here with him. I'm sure like maybe one person.
Might be, usually all the Koreans are friends.
Yeah.
So
kind of stick together, you know.
They've got that buddy system going on. So.
Curious is so used to it, he's just by himself. He's like, yep, I won, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. He's fine. And pretty good game from Serral, though. He certainly looks like he belongs in the round of 16, and he can mix it up with the Koreans.
For sure. I think maybe on a different map here that's not that hard to attack into.
If it was a different map, he could have just won that game flat out. There's no problem with that.
Well, we're going to jump straight into map number 2 here. It's going to be Coda, and down in the bottom right, in the red, one of our Zerg players here, down a game. It is Serral.
You made that sound so intense, Valdez. And up here in the top left, we do have the Zerg player from Korea. Curious. Curious, my personal pick is one of the best Zerg players here. I figured he might just be able to make the distance, make it to those finals, though he does have a lot of other very difficult players in his way.
Well, if someone like Fantasy is going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, I am actually scared of Curious, I'm not sure if I can take a series, I'm not that confident against him.
Right.
He definitely is one of the big contenders here.
Yeah, certainly so. Let's see how they're going to set off this time around.
Yeah, funnily enough, on this map, 2-player map, no early pools. Maybe a bit of a gentleman's agreement. We'll see if anyone decides to go for a bit of a safe pool. I think if there were one person to do it, maybe Curious.
I think Serral would be the one to go for safety.
Really?
Yeah, I think he'd be the one to go for that 15 pull, and Curious going to go for that 15 hatch, if it was my opinion. He does have that game to burn, and there's Serral with the 15 pull.
Well, there you go, Moon Lady called it.
And there's Curious with the 15 hatch. I guess I know what I'm talking about,
I guess you're pretty good at this game,
I
Moon
guess
Lady.
I have an idea.
I guess you play Zerg at a pretty high level.
I guess I do. Well, either way, this is where we're at right now. And Curious going to go all the way with Greed, go for that gas before pool as well. So, yeah, I mean, why not? When you're one game ahead, you can afford to take chances, risks.
I suppose.
Be greedy if you need to be.
It's just sometimes you see from the Korean players, especially after taking a game from a foreign player, maybe they're just like, I just want to be safe. I want to get to the mid game, get to that late game, because I don't want to lose it. I don't want to drop a game in this best-of-3 series to, some tease early on in the game. But
yeah, no, I definitely see that as well. I think it depends on the player as well as like how they what their mindset is usually, and how they deal with this kind of situation. Like Life, for instance, he'd probably just go for another 8 pull. He'd be like, you know what, it didn't completely work game 1, so I'm going to do it game 2. And he'd still make it work even though it was...
He'll never expect me to do it a second time.
No, man. He'd do it 3 times sometimes. Doesn't matter.
Curious though, for you.
If Curious is going to throw it out game 1, I think he'd still be inclined to take a chance in game 2. And that was the chance of Greed.
Maybe someone like Lenok, if we get to see him a bit later on in the brackets. He might be another Zerg to go for something like that.
Yeah, possibly. Lenok is a very aggressive Zerg player. Great player at that.
But it's funny, we actually saw, I think it was Bjall against Dark, maybe? It was in the Kespa Cup. I think it was that matchup where he went for 3 8 pools or 9 pools, and he just got totally shreked.
Was that Bjall versus Life or something?
No, I think it was against Dark in the Kespa Cup.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah, it can happen, man. There can be like a lot of dirty play. I mean, even I think we saw Dark versus Dream like that as well. Roach Bane, these things just happen, man. People just get in these like...
You can't explain it. It just happens.
They get in these moods where they just want to cheese all the time.
Sometimes players get tilted and they're like, well, forget this series. which is, of course, a terrible mindset to have. But
That's the
it
worst
happens.
mindset you
It
can ever
happens.
have, Valdez, yeah.
It's just like, well, you know, what can I do? I'm so far behind. I feel like crap.
That's true. Well, Lings are scouting out what he sees of Serral so far. And a lot of Lings on the way now, Valdez. Look at this. It's kind of essentially gasless. No Baneling Nest here, just a ton of Lings looking for that big hit.
And so far, totally unscouted here from Serral, but he is going to have that safe Baneling Nest back at home.
Yeah, but how many Lings does he have? We see a couple of Lings for now. Only 2 Lings, that's not enough. You know, sure he's going to have 2 Banelings out. Oh, look at this. Oh, he sees a Just with a second Overload.
Yeah. He's going to see everything coming in here. He's desperately trying to morph a couple of Banes now.
Yeah, he's going to be blocking that ramp with Queens as well. Maybe he'll look for that hatchery kill or some drone kills. But it's doubt we're going to see Curious get the kill here, unless those 2 Banelings whiff.
Well, he's going to come in here. He's going to cancel that Spine Crawler, and it looks like he may just be able to get that hatchery. One of the Banelings goes off really quickly here.
Well, the second one does too. Still enough Lings to threaten these Queens as well. 1 Queen caught out in the open. More Lings coming across the map. Looks like Curious just wants to end it here and now.
Yeah, he wants to end this game. He's going to take that 1 Queen, takes down another, and the drones are being pulled now to try to defend against this.
Another Baneling comes out, but not doing nearly enough damage. And all the drones are running. More Lings are coming out. He needs to morph more Banelings. Using these drones, drone stacking to try and deal with these Lings as well. Another Baneling coming down here.
Let's see how the hit is. Pretty good.
That was a good hit. That might be enough for Serral to stabilize at this point.
Looks like it will just barely be enough. More Banelings coming out here, and Curious, again, he was only following up with Lings, but once that attack kind of whiffed, he is switching into more drones now.
That's right. He's going to try and trigger more Banelings. He's got to be very afraid of a Serral counterattack at this point, you know, because there is Baneling tech for Serral and none for Curious, which is why we're seeing Curious still be so aggressive. He's trying to keep him on his side of the map, so he cannot just simply run across and morph Banelings and try and go for the kill there.
Exactly. Curious just needs a little bit more time before we can have this Baneling Nest morph for him.
He's the thing surrounding this bodyguard Lings on this Baneling here. It ain't dying anytime soon.
That is so funny.
That's the VIP Baneling looking for that 1 hit. It's like when that Lord of the Rings when they're trying to break that fort and that one guy with the bomb runs underneath. He's looking for it.
That's hilarious. And it survives. It's a great strategy, in fact.
That's it. He survives for now. He forgets about him at the last second. The Lings run up to it. But here we go. That 1 Baneling, the VIP, looking for the hit. He's sitting there. He's waiting for it. You can smell it.
Yeah,
What's he going to do?
He wants to be escorted in the front door. There we go.
He's waiting for his escorts, his VIPs. He's going to go for the hit. Is he going to find it? Nope. All that for nothing, Valdez.
Yeah. Not the best VIP Baneling we've ever seen, Moonglade.
Certainly not.
Yeah. Once again, we are going to see that lair farther ahead for Curious, about to finish up here. And it looks like he has taken all of his gases, so maybe once again going into that mute attack.
Wouldn't be a bad choice here. A lot of exchanges with Ling Bane in the middle of the map. Fishing for those Zerglings.
Still no Spire from Curious. He's just trying to decide, I suppose.
Yeah, still droning up as well.
There we go.
There we go. A little bit later. And we are seeing the lair finish up not far behind for Serral, but he forgot his Roach Warren. So that's going to be a long time before they're on the map and a longer time before Roach Speed is on the way.
Yeah.
Big mistake there, Valdez.
You can tell, like, in the middle of the map when these guys are fighting so tooth and nail with the Lings and the Banes, you know, even Curious' Spire about 10-15 seconds late, Serral forgetting his Roach Warrens. These things can happen when you are focusing mainly on your micro in the middle of the map.
That's right. The Lings are going to be looking for this third. They see the third. It's pretty protected as well. He's going to need a couple of Bane hits and try and clear the Banelings of Serral's if he wants to try and cancel that. It usually is a pretty important thing to try and deal with if you are going for that mute attack like we explained last game. This time around, Serral in a good position, but look at this run by.
Oh, really nice run by. That Baneling not really finding the hit he wanted. He's going to get another Queen Snipe here. It's been a theme for Curious in the ZvZ.
Yeah, he also is throwing away a lot of Lings to do this damage there, which is going to trigger a counterattack from Serral and maybe even give up his own third base. He's going to try and save these Lings by the looks of it, and he does.
Very nice. I mean, he gets a full scout of the base once again. Looking a bit like game number 1, although we've gotten here in a bit of a different fashion. And now he's got those 8 mutas on the way. Looking to morph some Banes to try to just defend against this. He's got 3 behind there.
Not a bad trade for Curious as well. Just enough Lings. He's going to take the map control again. And behind this, he is simply going to transition into those roaches with double upgrades. Quick, smart. He's got to be careful of that roach run-bys this time around. We are seeing Lings actually get in position for this very reason.
Yeah. I was talking about this before in a different series, I think Rhett versus Fantasy, where you can go for these big Ling run-bys towards the third base. On this big map, there's a decently hidden pathway there on the right side of the map to go for this kind of play. It looks like he is setting that up. We'll see if that can come to fruition a little bit later on in the game.
Yeah, pretty big supply block as well. A lot of spores going down. Kind of gives up map control for quite some time until, Infestors are out and either Queens or Hydras to help back them up. So a lot of Overlords being caught out. It's almost like Serral wasn't expecting this to be a thing. Yeah. Look at this. Ooh, big counterattack.
This is what I was talking about. You can get so much damage now. He's going to snipe the Queen first off, and here comes the Bane. A pretty good hit, trading with 2 Banelings there. He's going to catch the other Baneling, but not enough Lings to support, and he will just back off.
We're just going to try clean this up as well. Good position once again from Serral. He stabilized a lot earlier this time around. Took not nearly as much damage as last game.
Yeah.
Third up and running.
Really got to hand it to Serral. Going neck and neck here with one of the best ZvZ players in Korea. I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing a great job so far. A lot of Queens out already for Serral, so he's going the similar sort of approach to last game. Get out a bunch of Queens with your Roaches, get Infestors, and then go for that later Hydra tech.
Queens once again looking for that damage. We see the transition from Curious is much quicker in this game. I think he even got the Infestation Pit, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, going into just a bunch of Roaches with double upgrades, whereas Serral, kind of looking like the first game, just going for that attack upgrade. And pretty heavy on the Roaches, and then eventually Infestors.
It's going to be about that 4th base next. I'm sure Curious will be the one that kind of leads the way going into that 4th. This Ling run by, finding a few more drones.
That's so cute. It's like a Sue or a Life run by there.
It's just a little bit of damage. It all adds up in the end. More Overlords getting caught out. Getting more payback from Curious there. Not going to supply block, but close to.
Yeah, just a bit of an annoyance. I'll force him to remake 200 minerals worth of units. And now Serral posturing up in front of his natural and his 3rd. Maybe looking for the fungals, maybe trying to bait in these mutas.
Yeah, look at that. Quite a number of Infestors just waiting, and he's going to be going for that 4th base before Curious, actually. Kind of surprising considering how safe Curious has been so far with these mutas on the map.
Ooh, big fungal there. Going to catch a lot of the mutas. Can he change it up? Yes, he can. And he should be able to catch all of those mutas. Great fungals coming in there from Serral.
Yeah, going to really remove a lot of the presence on the map there. A lot of this harassment potential. Ling run by. It's going to be looking for this 3rd base, but there's a Spine, a Queen, and a bunch of Banelings.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to run by. Curious pretty good at this. He never overcommits to his harass. If he can't really find it, he's going to force you to bring your units all the way into your main.
Looking for a Queen. He might get this Queen as well. He wants it. He wants it enough, Valdez.
If he did, he could have gotten it. He's just going to go for the burrow, it seems. Bit of a cute play there from Curious.
A lot of Roaches on the right, left side as well. Oh, Changeling is just sitting there looking at it all. Unfortunate. Curious, he's just looking for the same sort of stuff we saw last game, but this time he's actually getting burrow moving as well. Finally, that 4th base going down.
So far, I am kind of liking Curious's position. He's done enough damage with the mutas. He has gotten ahead enough. And he does have the double upgrades coming out here for his Roaches, whereas Serral only has the +2 now. He is going to have his own Infestors.
Oh, Curious got to be careful here. Big Fungal's about to go down. But only Hydras. Where are the Roaches? They're completely out of position.
There's no support for these Hydras. Taking so much damage here is Serral. A lot of the Roaches here on the right side of the map dealing with the Roaches of Serral, it seems.
Oh, just not enough there. He actually lost so many Hydras in that engagement, despite the Roaches being fungled up. And the counterattack got quelled as well. Just enough Roaches out in the map for Curious. And when movement speed happens, it's going to be even harder to deal with this. And there it goes, 2-2, plus the movement speed. Burrow movement being all lined up perfectly.
Oh man, the Infestor's out here all alone. Gonna get one decent fungal, but can he really chain it up? Doesn't really look like it, but Curious not going to take that fight. Look at this. Once again, the Hydra's all alone. They're all going to go down.
Completely out of position here. And it's going to force Serral back to that third, but he can't go all the way because there's so many Roaches just waiting to run in there. Really nice positioning from Curious in engagements.
Yeah, he's really on top of his game today. Just always taking the efficient engagements. He's still got these Roaches somewhere in here. Serral's still struggling to clean up the burrowed Roaches in his main. Now a Hive on the way. Here for Curious, looking to make that transition once again.
Ooh, looking for it. He's going to run on in now. Nothing
Maybe go
here.
for the Queen Snipe.
Yeah, no doubt. He can one-shot that. There we go. And a lot of damage happening here. So many drones are going to go down.
Not even pulling the drones. He's taking a bunch of damage here. He's going to force a lot of his Roaches to come back and defend this at the same time, and they're just going to burrow and just be annoying again.
A lot more Roaches looking for counterattacks on the third and the fourth as well. He has no idea it's coming either.
Oh, he's missing the vision in that one critical spot on the map, and here we go. The Roach is coming in.
Oh, he can just go for the hatchery if he wants it. He can just do so much damage here. He can remove this base from the game. Good fungal on the army up there.
And he's actually sustaining so much damage over here at the same time.
This is actually going to force Serral into a huge counterattack. So at this point, Curious has to be so careful with the remaining Roaches. He cannot give them all up here because a big counterattack could just kill him.
Yeah, but at the same time, he has been building up a pretty huge bank. You know, we see him pretty near maxed out here and still 800 gas to go.
Ooh, look at this counter. Look at this attack. Not nearly enough army coming up here to help clean out, and these Roaches are getting a great trade on Queens and Hydras.
Look at this. They're going to unburrow right next to the Infestors, but a nice burrow there. Going to save the Infestors, and it's going to force Curious to run back.
Just a big remax happening from Curious as well. Look at that huge income advantage for Curious as well.
I mean, he essentially knocked out an entire base of mining of Serral.
Not to mention all the drone damage that happened in the main base and the fourth base as well.
Now Curious, you know, getting his own Infestors out here. He's got 7 of them, also following up with the Hydras. And maybe he feels at this point he's just gotten far enough ahead where he can just make the same composition and essentially bulldoze over the army of Serral.
Yeah, so long as he gets the right positioning for it, it certainly will be the case. He just keeps counterattacking so intelligently. This time, though, Serral is waiting with a big chunk of his army.
Yeah, more than prepared here.
Could actually flank it as well if he wanted to, just to wipe them all out. Choosing not to, though.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe he's just concerned about his base in the middle there.
Yeah.
Wants to just defend and get up another base here pretty safely. But on a bit of a timer, I mean, we got this Greater Spire on the way for Curious.
Yep, the timer, the 3-3 timer, as well as that Greater Spire. We do see those spine crawlers get put down, and this leads us to believe that it looks like he's just going to be camping for a while longer, just wait for these Broodlords and have just a very solid, easy win if Serral just doesn't react soon enough.
Yeah. Curious is just basically distracting Serral here, just consistently going for these counterattacks, these backdoor attacks, but even if he doesn't get damage done, it forces Serral back. It forces him into a position where he can't really attack and put on the pressure.
Look at this. We are seeing a lot of spines go down. He wants to make Corruptors morph them into Broods, just have enough supply for it.
Yeah. And on the chase here, he's not really going to find the damage. It's just a wild goose chase over here on the left side of the map.
A much later Greater Spy coming in for Serral now, actually. Oh, look at that Contaminate. That's a big move right there.
That is cute. I really like that.
It's going to give him a little bit more time here. No doubt Serral knows exactly what's going on now. He probably realizes that he is up against the clock. His Greater Spire is going to finish nearly in time for him to get his own out, so he's going to have to go for the damage.
Curious once again down here at this third base looking for the damage. The units of Serral this time a bit out of position, but not sure if he can really find the damage here. He's just going to delay until he gets those Broods out.
That's a beautiful move in itself. You know, the more time you're buying over Serral's side of the map, the more time Curious has to set up his Broodlords and build that huge death ball of Zerg.
He never made the Broods. There we go. Delayed that a bit. Not sure if that was a mistake or just wanted to make sure he can get away with it safely.
7 Broodlords on the way. Bunch of Hydras as well. Curious is maxed out at this point. Yeah. We are seeing Serral move across the map, but it's simply too late to kind of hit a timing before the Broodlords are out.
They're going to be out, and there's so many Infestors on Curious' side of the map with almost full energy here. He can delay forever. He's got so many spines at the same time. he's just really taking control of this game, and he's playing so well right now, I really have to say.
Curious going for another counterattack on that fourth. Going to try and put him out of position once again. Going to be running into a sandwich there.
Yeah, not really going to find much damage at all. Going to be totally wiped out. At the same time, though, I guess trying to maneuver in the middle of the map won't really find much of a position. Just going to back off.
It's so funny how passive we're seeing Curious play, despite having such an army advantage at this point, as well as upgrades. He's in no hurry to end this game. He just wants to play a slow, safe one.
Yeah, it's kind of the theme of Curious. You know, he's never really in a rush. Nice little fungal here. He's just waiting and defending because there's no way Serral's ever going to attack into that many spines, that many fungals, that many broods.
One brood's coming now. This time Serral's. 7 of Serral's, so he's staying even in number somehow. And more Roach counterattacks happen. Curious just waiting for these upgrades to finish. You know, he is maxed out essentially.
Yeah, he's in no rush. He's just sitting back. No problem at all.
He just wants the perfect number of Broodlords, so he's making 5 more.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? He's got enough fungals to really help out in case there's Corruptors coming from Serral or any sort of anti-air, you know. Hydras as well. The more infestors he has, the more they can be locked down, and the Hydras below will kind of DPS him down. And oh man, cannot afford to lose infestors at this point.
You really can't. And he essentially sustained 0 damage there, Curious. And took out about 2 or 3 infestors there, so another great trade for him. Putting down more and more spines. And even taking another hatchery. Over there in the middle of the map. Looks like he may look to move into a bit more of an assertive position towards defending that 5th base.
Yeah, it looks like it. He's saying he wants to split this map in half, Valdez. And he's going to go for more damage. He's going to find it as well. Get rid of this extractor. Slow down the gas income a little bit more. And, yeah, Curious. I guess maybe he's afraid of a counterattack that could happen. It's one of the big things, I think, when you obviously go with Broodlords, there's always that risk that the army just tries to avoid you, goes for the base trade sort of situation. We do see a lot of Corruptors being made for Serral, so he's going to go for that kind of counter for the Broodlords, which is not a bad choice. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Curious add a bunch as well when the time comes. So many spine crawlers to deal with these Roach counterattacks.
There's about 7 or 8 of them over there. Yeah, even this number of Roaches is not going to be able to deal with it. He's going to be forced back.
Yeah.
Curious does have to be careful to a point. You know, if you delay it this much, you're just going to allow your opponent to trade out his own units, get a very similar composition. I still would say that Curious has the better composition, but he's not really taking advantage of it.
No, he doesn't want to press the issue at all. Maybe just waiting for Serral to make the first move. He's still making that perfect army though. Like all these counterattacks with Roaches, he's been shaving off supply so he can go more into Broodlords and Corruptors while he upgrades them and takes that 5th base.
Yeah. Looks like Serral's still keeping a pretty high Roach count compared to the only 2 of Curious. It looks like Curious wants to get a bit more of a perfect composition, as you were saying before. A lot of Hydras in the mix for him at the same time.
Yeah, and it's not a bad choice. It's just going to solidify that advantage you have as well. Look at this. Just finding more and more little bits of damage with the Roaches he has left over.
Yeah, just the last 2 hero Roaches doing a bit of damage there, but
scattered out the army of Serral as well, so he has an idea of how big like the anti-air army is. There's a lot of Corruptors in Serral's army right now. 21 to the 14.
But also 14 Broodlords to the 7 of Serral.
Yeah, and it really comes down to the fungals on top of Corruptors and the positioning as well. It's not always just going to be like, oh, he has more Corruptors, he can wipe out the air. It's about positioning more than anything else when you're dealing with fungal.
This is a nice little bit of harassment. He's going to go and skirt around the spine crawlers there at the 3rd base of Curious, but Curious doesn't seem to care. He's going to go for the fight here. A bunch of the Broodlords a bit out of position, going to be caught out. Yeah. No support.
Actually, really great position here, but look at that fungal, actually. Now, that is a huge fungal. That's a fight-winning fungal right there. The Hydras are so slow to catch up here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to save more of his fungals for the Hydras on the ground, and there we go, getting a ton of those fungals down on both sides, in fact.
Maybe there's just simply too many Hydras there. They might be starting to focus down the Corruptors as well. Broodlords.
Oh, even the Infested Terrans on the ground.
Oh,
Doing a
yeah.
number to all the Corruptors in the air. And so many Broodlords remain here for Curious. It looks like he will be able to clean up finally in this game, taking his time.
He's taking his
will
time.
Eventually.
Look at these counterattacks, though. He's doing something. He's getting rid of some bases, but the backbone of this army has been annihilated. All the Broodlords are gone, and so many are left over.
Look at this. 24 Mutas coming out.
Oh,
and he's taking out so many of the hatcheries. And there's not much to attack the air here. What does he got?
There's still a bunch of Hydras left over, so I'm wondering if it actually will be enough. Those Hydras are completely upgraded as well, so they're going to have a pretty huge advantage, as well as some Corruptors left over.
But at the same time, he's in the main base. He's taking out a lot of different buildings. Could he even go for a base trade? There's a lot of spines on the ground, but there's not much to attack these Mutas.
The hardest one would be the top right, but the Mutas are heading towards there now. Maybe
I don't even think Curious knows about this.
He doesn't have an idea that Muta Switch happened, that's for sure. I think when he does find out, he's going to turn around and try and defend.
Well, here we go. Going to come up here to the top right. He's going to snipe out the Spore Crawler immediately.
There's a lot of Mutas. This is actually a big problem for Curious right now. He might want to start investing in some more anti-air, or at least try and save some drones so he can deal with a base trade.
The Hydras of Curious getting to work to the buildings in the main here. He's got to be careful to keep those together. He doesn't want them to be split up. And
I think he loses the game if he loses those Hydras, Valdez. Yeah, he has to be so careful. So that is simply too many for those Mutas to deal with, especially because they are 3-3. And there are a couple of Fungals available for Curious as well.
Just going for the buildings here. It looks like this is getting to be a pretty intense base trade at this moment in time. Still a lot of spines remain in the top right, but still no answer for the Mutas. Curious, though, he's got a lot of drones out of the map. He can make another hatchery somewhere if he so pleases.
Yep. He's certainly got enough resources to kind of handle this base trade. That's a hatchery in the middle of nowhere. That could be a bit of a problem. We do see Curious make his way up.
Yeah, still some buildings left here in the main and the natural for Serral, and still getting to work there. And it looks like Curious is just going to sit back here and defend this hatchery. Keep all his Hydras together.
Yeah, we're actually seeing the pretty big army move up. Maybe looking for that last hatchery. That's still a lot of Corruptors for Curious as well.
Yeah. He's just going to keep the Hydras back here to defend against any kind of base trade scenario. And there's that hatchery.
Hatchery has been caught out. And only a few buildings remaining down there towards the natural and main base as well. So another hatchery to the right side. Serral's going to draw this one out, try and find the base trade he's been looking for. It's going to be hard there. Just Curious is waiting for it now.
Yeah, the Muta's coming down here. He's going to try to trade with the Roaches, and he will be able to do just that. But at the same time, look at that. The huge defense over here at that hatchery. That is never going down as long as he doesn't move away.
Yeah, certainly not. There's really no way that Serral can find the damage for that. There's not with this many units here.
Is there a way that he could, like, run in there and try to snipe the hatchery? Or is that too many Corruptors?
It's too many Corruptors, too many Hydras, and the Broodlords are going to buffer. They're going to completely block out any Roaches running up that ramp. Like, Broodlings are just going to block the way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it looks like he may just go for it, regardless.
Might as well try, right?
He's pretty much his last effort here.
It's his last shot. There's one big fight left over. Splitting up those Mutas pretty well, so he can deal with the Fungals.
Yep. Keep in mind, Curious has also gotten an extractor, so the hatchery is not the only building that has to be focused down here. Here we go. Serral's going to run up the ramp. This is his last chance. His tournament life on the line.
He's going
trying to
for
focus
it.
down that hatchery.
Oh, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Nearly everything has been wiped out. The Roaches are actually getting in there.
They're getting in. They're trying to get it. The extractor is going to go down, but can he get the hatchery? No. Curious will win the game. Just barely there. Wow.
That was a close one. It did some damage, man. That hatchery was on half health before all the units were wiped out in the end. Very nicely done from Curious.
Yeah. Such an insanely long game. Curious really dragging it out there. You can tell he's one of those guys that's super comfortable in the late game of really any matchup.
Yeah, he loves his passive play. I mean, he was back in the day one of those guys that loved the Broodlord and Fester style.
Yeah.
He played it like nothing else. He was so good at it, but it did make for these long-winded games.
Yeah, it really did. And we were saying it before, Curious probably could have ended that one like 10 minutes before, but he did it on his own terms. He still won the game, and he's still moving on to the round of 8.
Very solid play, and great games from Serral as well. You know, both games, he went the distance. Game 1, he certainly had some big advantages. He could have maybe won the game if the map was a little more forgiving, especially with those choke points. There's no way you're going to get in there with Fungals happening.
Definitely a really strong player. definitely gained my respect, at least. You know, I don't think he should feel that down after going down to Curious here in a best of 3 ZvZs. Curious is a fantastic player. We'll have to see more of Serral in the future.
Yeah, certainly so.
Now, it was a pretty intense series overall, just watching the final moments of that game, really trying to dive on that last opportunity to clear things out. But, that's ZvZ for you, man.
That's ZvZ for you, man. Again, it's a beautiful thing, Nathanius. It's a beautiful thing.
All those bird lords.
So now we have Curious here with us. English or Korean?
Korean it is.
Maybe Korean?
All right, sure. I don't want to do a thing where I have to translate my own questions, so you guys ask.
I want to ask the first question. Why did he wait so long? Why did he feel like he had to wait so long in that last game to end it on Coda?
마지막 경기를 되게 천천히 풀어나가는데 좀 빨리 끝내려고 하지 않고 그렇게 천천히 풀어나간 이유가 뭔가요?
좀 약간 그냥 공격을 가면 안 될 것 같았어요. 그냥 느낌상.
It just felt that I didn't think I should have attacked. It just felt like that.
Didn't want to risk it, which
Pretty straight up.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd like to ask, since we've talked so much about players like Gumiho and Fantasy in this tournament, and Curious being one of the guys that maybe can contend with them. Do you feel strong compared to these guys? Do you think you can get through this, or who are you really worried about most?
여기서 그 우승 후보로 뭐 정명훈 선수, 고병선 선수 이런 선수를 꼽았는데 본인은 이 대회 자신이 우승 후보다 이렇게 생각하세요?
그렇게까지는 생각하지 않고 있고, 네, 4강 가서 그 우승 후보라고 생각되는 선수들을 이기면은 이제 우승에 욕심이 날 것 같아요.
I don't really think I'm a contender yet. If I get to the semis and in the semis I beat one of those guys who is a contender, then I'll know.
I want to ask maybe one last question. What does he feel about his ZvT matchup right now? Does he feel confident, or what is he thinking? Just because there are so many strong Terrans in this tournament.
이번 대회 되게 잘하는 테란 선수가 많은데 요새 저 태전이 어떠세요?
저는 연습할 때 테란전 많이 이겨요.
I win a lot of ZvT in practice.
Fair enough.
That's confidence, man.
Good to hear from you. Thank you very much, Curious, and congratulations on advancing on here. It's a pleasure to have you as our strongest potential non-Terran candidate in this tournament. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us so far today. We have a couple more series to bring you to round out the round of 16. You're watching the DreamHack Open 2015 Valencia. We'll be right back with our next match after this short break.